Hello, I'm Brian Williams of Williamsburg Christian Academy, here with Dr. William Kelso, renowned archaeologist currently working on the Jamestown Rediscovery Act. And Dr. Kelso, I just wanted to ask you a few questions today. First, what motivates you to do the great work that you do as an archaeologist?
Well, I think it's a chance to experience history one-on-one. When something's found, usually it hasn't seen the light of day for several hundred years, and that's sort of as close as you can get to a time machine. And I think I get much more of a feeling for what history is all about.
Do you recall the first thing that you discovered as an archaeologist?
Well, the first thing I discovered at Jamestown, which I started 18 years ago, was a real small piece of pottery. And I had a theory that, having read what other people had thought, that the lost James Fort might be found this pottery. Pottery can be dated, and it dated to the early 17th century, which is when Jamestown was founded. So I knew we were on to finding the fort. So that really sticks out in my mind.
I heard about your book, Jamestown, The Buried Truth, and as you discover more and more things, do you plan on writing another book?
I am now writing a revision of that book, and I can't think of any other thing to call it except More Buried Truth.
Dr. Kelso, thank you for your time.
Hello, I am Isaac F. Davis, joined here by Dr. Kelso at the historic Jamestown. Dr. Kelso, I would first like to ask you, what are some of the most fascinating and interesting artifacts that you have found during your archaeological dig?
Well, we found over 1.5 million artifacts, so a lot of them are my favorite artifact. But if I had to point to one, I think it would be a slate, a piece of slate that was used by many people to write over and over on and to draw pictures. And it's like finding a book, and deciphering all these various scratches on the slate has been quite an interesting experience.
Wow. Yes. Also, what organizations or other parties are helping you to continue this archaeological dig here?
Well, we're managed by Colonial Williamsburg Foundation. The property is owned by Preservation Virginia. It's private property. We are funded by private donations, and we are also not recipients of any kind of tax money, state money, or even federal money.
Yes, good. And also, lastly, is there anything that our viewers can help with your archaeological digs here?
Well, they certainly can support us in many different ways. We have a donor giving program, and we would hope that the people in the community would really take Jamestown under their wing and help us.
Thank you, Dr. Kelso, for your time.
Hi, I'm Clare McMurry here from Williamsburg Christian Academy at the real Jamestown with Dr. William Kelso at one of the nation's most fascinating archaeological digs. And Dr. Kelso, thank you so much for joining me today. What is your most recent discovery that you've found throughout any of the digs here at Jamestown?
Well, we found the site of the first church. It was built in 1608. It stood about 1616. And it was huge, a gigantic foundation made of posts in the ground, and it was the major building in the fort.
And now what you believe is that was where John Smith and Pocahontas were married, correct?
According to documents, in 1614, April 1614, Pocahontas married John Rolfe, and this was the church that was standing there at the time. So we know the exact place, I can guarantee you, where Pocahontas was married.
That's a lot. And Dr. Kelso, just throughout your being at Jamestown, especially with this new church that you found, is there anything that you found that you've just not expected to find?
Well, the fort, in some ways. I mean, I had a theory it was here, but to find it in such great condition, completely preserved below ground. This is the fort of 1607, the John Smith fort, and it was supposed to have been washed away to the river, and lo and behold, here it is.
And of course, that's a great life accomplishment for you to accomplish in your lifetime. And Dr. Kelso, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.